Hey y'all, I'm Ashley Nicole of Getting My Cheese Back on My Cracker,
And I'm Candy.
and we are here today to where is it? I'm so sorry, y'all. We are here today to talk about beauty and mental health. But before we get into it, I want to remind you if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button that's below and turn on your YouTube notifications so that you don't miss anything from Getting My Cheese Back on My Cracker. We have our main show, we have the state of Black men's mental health, and we have this show, the Wellness Collective. To make sure that you don't miss anything we have coming, make sure you hit that notification button. Okay. And so today we're talking about beauty and mental health and things of that nature. And a lot of people probably wouldn't put these two things in the same discussion. Do you think?
You know what? I think the more we gain consciousness of what affects us and how we behave and how we feel and think about ourselves, everything is on the table. So, honestly, I do think beauty and mental health literally go hand in hand.
I think it's funny because when we were writing the episode, I
Mhm.
kept saying your beauty story, your beauty story, your beauty story. And even when I was talking with my friend, one of our guests today, she was like, "What is a beauty story?" And I was like, "Have you been beautiful since you can remember, or can you remember when you found
Yeah.
out it was
I didn't
beautiful?"
get what you were talking about when you first said it either, but it is literally your beauty story, your evolution into what you define yourself as when you say beauty. So I got it. I had some time to think about it too.
It's crazy because even though like I've looked like this my whole life,
Mhm,
I've always been too much something, either too black or too fat or
mhm,
too tall or too something. It
mhm.
wasn't until like maybe 5 or 6 years ago that I was like, "Girl, you fine.
I think
You
that's
are
a
beautiful."
lot of us. I agree. I think that 100% coming into yourself is this age thing or this maturity or experience or an acceptance thing. I don't think we all accept ourselves out the gate, especially
Mhm.
if there were people telling you, verbalizing it, that you weren't it. So I agree.
Well, thanks for that. So I'm going to go ahead and bring on our guest. We have the lovely Mrs. Jackie Benjamin. And we
Ooh.
have one more guest when she's having technical difficulties right now, but when she hops on, we'll introduce her as well. Hey, Jackie.
Hey, what's up, ladies?
Good
We
evening.
are so happy to have you here today. Can you tell us, do you understand? I know you may have, you, I think you can hear from the backstage area what I was saying about the beauty story.
Yeah, it's a cool concept to describe it that way. Like Candy, I didn't know what you meant, what was meant by the term when you first said it, but as you explained it, we all do have a beauty story. Mhm.
Can you tell us a little bit about your beauty story?
My beauty story. Uh, I didn't always feel beautiful. I do now. I feel beautiful, but I feel like beautiful has a different definition for me than it was once had. I do feel like that beauty is more than what you see. It's also what you can feel and how you make other people feel too. So I feel like my definition of beauty has evolved. But my beauty story, if I had to tell a story about it, uh, I would say there were pockets of people that thought I was beautiful before I did, and I'm grateful that they were strong enough to at least I could hear them saying it. But I did hear other kids and other people that I thought I looked similar to described as ugly, described as too dark, described as tall, too tall. As a woman, being tall was not a feminine or beautiful feature as a kid. You were in the back of the class because you were a size order, and normally with the guys, and like, why are you back here? Because all of the young ladies are in the front. So
Mhm.
I do feel like my story involves finding my beauty and having to work to find my beauty. And
Mhm.
I think I hit a good stride in when I was about 19 or 20 because I feel like dark skin was making like this big comeback. So I feel like I kind of benefited from becoming a woman, coming into my adulthood, being a little less impressionable than I was before as a younger woman. And then at the same time, the world was discovering or at least the Black culture was discovering being Black as being beautiful, or being dark and having value in being dark, like around that time in like the late 90s, early 2000s.
Mhm.
And then it's been a self-discovery and a self-search since then. So actively seeking my definition of beauty rather than relying on other people to define what beauty is or was for me. So, and it's a daily work. It's a daily effort. There are days I wake up and feel like I can't find it today. And then there are other days that I wake up and I'm like, I woke up like this, like it just depends. But yeah, I would say that would be the foundation of my beauty story, a journey, a continuous journey to redefine and unlearn some really harming, damaging thoughts of what beauty is and how far I was from that spectrum. Discovering what beauty is to me and then identifying myself as a center of that, and then everything else comes after that. So
Yeah, journey. It's like an up and down thing. I mentioned it earlier to both of you. I was feeling heavy about this topic, but it really is a moment to moment thing. I took a shower, put on a nice shirt, and I feel great. And I was like, oh no, I don't have a chance to put on makeup. And I put the mirror on and I put I put the camera on and I was like, oh my gosh, you look fine. And then I got in with Ashley, then Jackie jumped on and then Ms. Doyen jumped on. And I was like, we all look great. Like right here. But it wasn't like that an hour ago for me. You know what I'm saying? It is a up and down. So I double tap and appreciate that. Like it's a never ending thing. It's not, okay, I'm here.
Yeah, it's not a destination, it's a journey.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I will definitely agree that it's not static.
Yeah.
So, some days I'm feeling myself, other days I'm like, girl, what's going on?
Mm-hmm. Hi, Joyanne. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Hi, y'all. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be that Nigerian. It's always late, but here I am, always late.
Diane, so and when you came on, we were discussing a little bit about our beauty stories. And first of all, I was telling them about our conversation about the beauty story. Can you tell us a little bit about yours, or did you want me to kind of define beauty story for you first?
Okay. Yeah, if you don't mind just finding.
So we were saying, to me, your beauty story is like, when did you find out, like, where did you think you were beautiful your whole life, or was there a point in time where you were like, girl, you're fine, you are beautiful? Like, how did that happen, or when did that happen? For me, it was like maybe a few years ago when it finally clicked, and things that look like me look like beautiful to other people, and it also started looking beautiful to me. So my beauty story starts like maybe 5 or 10 years ago, whereas some people's beauty stories start a longer time ago for them.
Yeah, Ashley and I are both from Mississippi. And so being a little bit chocolate in Mississippi isn't always praised. It's not always honored. I've never felt mainstream beautiful. But I will say with time, I've found what my beauty is. And so my beauty isn't always how I look. Half the time. I love makeup, but I operate in extremes. I have to fully beat my face or just look like I'm homeless. So there's no middle ground. I don't know what a 5-minute face is. I just don't. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of things about me, even not just my face, but like just how I am. My light. I think I have a great light. My love for people that I think makes me, like, you know how like bugs are attracted to light. There's things about me that I consider my beauty that makes people love me and want to be around me. But like you said, it took me a long time. And I really feel like maybe Lupita was where I really feel like extreme. You can be a really chocolate girl.
Yeah.
People can still love you. But at the same time, it took a lot for me to realize and define my version of beauty, because it's not what mainstream is. but at the same time, I think I still exude some types of beauty at least.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of touched on the next question a little bit with mentioning Lupita. When you think about your beauty story, can you think of like who kind of influences it? Is there a person or a thing that kind of changes your scale of what's beautiful or what's not?
When I think of like it's some people here and there. So like when I think of my makeup beauty journey, Jackie Aina was the first girl that looked like me who I saw putting on makeup. They like didn't flash and like really looked good.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was like kind of the start of understanding, there's a space out there for us. Like we said, Lupita. Um, the other one, she's on Black Orange is the New Black. And she's Nigerian, and I'm losing her name.
Uzo.
Uzo, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Uzo is one of the most beautiful people to me. And I super love her because of her personality. And I think she's in my book, she's gorgeous.
Absolutely.
And so I think not growing up, because I feel like growing up being around certain people, especially Mississippi, light is light, and that's everybody's favorite. But like being someone of the internet and like, Issa Rae and people like that, where we started to see more important people who look like us, those are the key people. I will say I met Issa Rae once at South by Southwest, and I am a faux photographer, so I'm not a big fan of flash. But we were in a dark room, and I was trying to take a picture of the two of us without flash, and that wasn't working. And that's when I realized, sometimes you just have to have flash.
It's like sometimes you just have flash.
But, yeah, so it was a little bit of a struggle, but it worked eventually. But she's everything to me, like YouTube, college, watching her show she was great. I love her.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie, who influences your story? My mom. My grandmother was very fair. My grandfather was very dark. And so they had 4 kids that were the rainbow, different shades. And my mom was the darkest. And she had me very young, and she was this very, very chocolate. My grandmother would call her ebony baby. Very chocolate woman, very confident. People thought she was tall because she wore 4-inch heels. She's probably about 5'6" or 5'4", but people thought she was 5'8", 5'9" because she wore heels every day, even to the grocery store. She had the strongest confidence of anybody I ever knew growing up. And she was dark like me, or darker than me. And she never even mentioned it. I consider myself to be kind of like I consider myself to be very revolutionary and Afrocentric, or at least focused on understanding what it means to be African in the world or part of the diaspora. And it wasn't ever for her a race or color or being Black thing. It just was, I exist, and and whether I deserve it or not, or earned it or not, I am beautiful, and I don't even know what to call it, because with her, it was just an aloofness. It was not even on purpose.
She wasn't trying.
She wasn't trying. She was just always very confident, And so, yeah, my first dark-skinned mentor or inspiration is my mom.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
As for the chocolate mamas in the 4-inch heels.
Chocolate moms in 4-inch heels.
That was my take from that whole.
And jeans, tube top jeans and 4-inch heels.
I see it. That's dope. Mm-hmm. I would definitely say my influence would be my grandmother. That was the positive person in my life. And my dad always dated pretty women. So I always modeled myself after whatever these natural, fine, multicultural, like you said, rainbow, multicultural women just look like, and how they carry themselves in them essence. And that was my thing. That was before I think social media was a big, this pull and this influence. But I just remember hot
pretty women being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna act like that. I'm gonna be cute like that. I'm gonna do my hair like this. So yeah, that was those are my influence. And Miss Ashley, I'm curious to know.
For me, even though like my beauty story is like a mini series that started 2 months ago,
Saga girl.
it was really seeing like my granny, my mom, my aunts, and like all of the women in my family when I was growing up. They were the most beautiful people to me. They were all like my mother was like 6'2", my granny was 6'3" or 6'4". All of them were like pretty tall, fair skinned, well, fairly darker skinned women. And we kind of have the same situation as your mom, Jackie. My granny, um, her mother was like light skinned, like ginger, light skin with the red hair, freckles, green hazel eyes. And they had 13 kids and they had every last color down the spectrum. So my granny was darker, and then her kids were darker, and then it leads to me and my twin sister being the dark ones of that generation. So when I looked at all of my aunties, all of my mom, her sisters, my great aunts, there was like every color of brown, every color from the darkest black to like light skin, hazel eyes, green eyes. There was all the colors, and all I could think of is she looks like me and she's pretty, but I don't look exactly like her. So I guess I'm all right. Until I got a little bit older and began to see, oh, those things in me, plus my personality, plus my character, plus the way she carries herself is what makes her beautiful. And I began to see those things in other people that I think are beautiful. It's not just their hair, it's not just their face or their eyes or
Dorian said they're light, right? You're light.
right.
It's
It
what
was
you
it
carry,
was
that
their
pa-
light. It
how
was
that
all of
package
those things.
is. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
That's
And
the
I hope
surface.
I'm not going to jump too far ahead in your questions, but I will say the way y'all feed into you and your sister feed into your niece Ava, who is a beautiful little chocolate girl, and they constantly love on her and are like, "You're the beautiful."
As they should.
And so I'm
Oh,
hoping she
yes,
doesn't have to
color.
go as long before she realizes and truly
Yeah.
understands her beauty.
That's the goal.
Absolutely. If we forget to tell her, she reminds us. And guess what? I am gorgeous today, just like I was yesterday. And we're
Aw,
like, all right,
I
baby,
love
you
that.
sure are.
I love that.
Yes. All right, Ashley. Well, I'm gonna just peek at this.
Mhm.
We have a stat here. Now, as positive as I love how this was starting, because I did, like I said, when we were producing it, it had a heavy tone, but I think this one started very positive with us digging for those good things in this journey of beauty, because it's good and bad. And so my question is, after this stat, 8 out of 10 women aren't happy with what they see in the mirror. That's an old Dove, like 2019 stat where we pulled that from. How do you currently feel about your beauty? We touched on it. Like I said, I jumped in the shower and didn't think I was going to feel pretty. And then I sat in front of the camera and said, oh, I'm good. How do you feel about your beauty right now, either Dorian or Jackie? In this very second, 7:53 Eastern Standard Time, 6:53 y'all time.
Dorian, I'll let you jump in.
I could use some concealer, but I'm trying my best.
I love that. Keep it real.
That's honest. That's honest.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I'm fine. I had 7 years worth of dreads, and I cut it off, and I went blonde, and I'm excited about who I am and how I present myself at this point in my life. So
Yes.
I'm doing okay.
All the phases.
Yeah. I as in any video conference, I spend a lot of time looking at myself, checking myself to make sure and I'm actively in this conversation because we're talking about beauty, saying, look at everybody else. So it's a constant thing, but I do feel beautiful in this moment. I do feel beautiful today. I was telling Candy, I actually feel really like positive, upbeat, happy today, and sometimes that is because of how you look, like how I look, or how I look does play a role into how I feel. did the opposite thing of you, Doyen. I started locking my hair 2 years ago. I just celebrated my 2-year lock anniversary last week, and it's the best decision I've ever made. It's the most low maintenance. I wake up feeling beautiful. I don't have to do and prod and do stuff to my hair. I wake up, and whether it's in a ponytail or it's just out like a lion at this point because it's gotten really big, I still feel beautiful. But that also concerns me. Years ago, I used to wear my hair in a natural kind of like fro with the sides shaved. And I was at work working for a company, working for Ralph Lauren. And if you can imagine, I probably was a lot in contrast to a lot of people working there. And one of my colleagues adopted a black young lady, and she, long story short, he made a comment saying, you know, we take her to the African hair braiding shop because we want to keep her hair braided because hanging hair is beautiful. Hanging
like
hair is, yeah.
Hanging hair.
And it was, and I really think it was hanging hair is beautiful. Hair that hangs is beautiful.
Wow.
And that bothered me. That bothered me at the time. And then just thinking about, like, at this point, do I like my locks because they hang now? And we all go through this point where we're like, oh, I don't want to go through that starter phase. And it seems really ignorant for him to say it at the time. But now looking back, I feel like, do I feel like that too? Do I feel like hanging hair is beautiful? And I had never heard it like that, but
so how did you feel
at the time?
How did you feel about your hair in that moment? Because like you said, the sides short at that time with the top.
Yeah.
So how did you
He
feel
was
in that moment?
in direct contrast to what I was, but he had always complimented me and always told me I was strikingly beautiful.
I loved when your hair was like that. Remember that keychain?
I still have that keychain. It was a little look exactly like my fro.
I will say, I think what I loved about having my dreads was I was growing my hair and it was mine.
Yeah.
Because, you know, especially when we're young, we're doing a lot of weaves and braids and stuff like that. And I loved it. I, you know, life, stress, health, my hair started to thin and that's why I cut it.
Right.
But even then I found beauty in the moment of my hair today. So I never thought as a dark skinned girl, I could rock blonde hair. But now I'm happy.
That's it.
Happy blonde. I keep my hair short so I don't have to comb it every day because guess what? I loved about locks, not combing my hair.
Right.
So,
don't even have a comb.
I haven't seen a comb.
And I would definitely say, like, people used to say all kinds of dumb stuff to me about hair all the time. So I had locks. Some people thought I just had tiny braids. I'm like, you think I braid this all the time? I remember one day I wore a wig and this lady was like, your hair looks good combed out. And I'm like, it's not combed. Okay.
Right.
So just to say, it's okay for you to love your hair as it's growing out of your head.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree with that. And I totally agree with that. And it's a passing thought that I shared. I love everything about my hair. I love everything about my hair. And I do love, just like you, the fact that it's mine. I wore braids a lot. Like I would go off and on between natural because it takes a lot. Even with the fro, like it was a kind of like a fro hawk, and it was a lot of hair at the top. And it's a lot of maintenance. And braids is, as you know, wake up and go. So I did go between the braids and my fro a lot. But yeah, it does feel good that I don't have to do anything and I don't have to put any hair on, and it's mine, and I grew it. And yeah. And you know what? I just feel like, and maybe it's a certain level kind of male that appreciates it, but I find a lot of men come up to me on the street like, just thank you for being natural. Like, thank you. People are really tired of the adding of all of the hair and all these things. And there's a certain I would say there's a certain demographic of people that are tired of it, and it's been great for me to find that tribe too. You know, I attracted different people when I went natural. I try, you know, like when I started natural lip, like different things, it attracts different people, and then you create this circle of affirmation because it becomes your tribe, and those people appreciate the decisions that you've made because they're similar to the decisions they would have made too.
Till this day, anytime I see a woman on the street, a black woman on the street with dreads, I compliment her because I'm just like, they're so cute.
Yeah, no, I love that. Yeah.
A
A lot of people didn't want me to do it though.
Oh yeah, I remember that phase for me.
Remember
too.
that?
Most people, yeah, most people.
They were like, you can't undo it.
Yeah,
Yours was like a couple of years, 10 years ago or 12 years ago. I think I'm 12
for
years.
you, yeah.
My friends, especially, like I had a couple of white friends that I worked for and got money with, and you know, he in particular said, "How are you gonna wash them? Like I want to understand them. Like, what is there for you to understand? It's mine.
Right.
That's my decision." But it's still a thing. Even a couple of years ago when you started, Jackie, people like, you gonna like it? You're gonna, especially you. I know you change your hair here and there, but
yeah,
why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't? It's literally my hair, how it comes out, my body manipulated, and you know, whatever, whether it's comb coil or you know, the intricate locks, the smaller ones. It's your hair, so
yeah.
I definitely got that also. People saying, why you want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I mean, Ashley, I don't know if you want to ask the next question, but one is jumping out at me. And I feel like it ties into this because we've been talking a lot about external. And I mean, the point of the Wellness Collective is to talk about how things affect us mentally. So I'm going to drag it over here. And this may be a little more, you know, in depth. You know, beauty is, you know, the physical is one thing, but like, how do you feel that it affects your mental? How beautiful you feel? What do you think the impact, like you said, when you feel down or not too cute, how long does it last a long time? Does it feel like a thing that really affects you mentally? And you can answer it however you feel, ladies.
I actually want to jump on that one.
Please.
It's funny to me because up through like school or up until college, maybe even just recently I stopped. But my mom used to say, she used to have a motto that if you feel bad, you gotta look good. So at least you feel good about something. So on the days where I had the most makeup, the days where my hair was perfect or as perfect as I could think it was, the days where I dressed up, those are the days I felt the worst. Because if nothing else, I at least knew that I looked good. But as I began to like go on this mental health journey or go on like thinking into that, it began to dawn on me that like, okay, you might think you look good, but you messed up on the inside right now. You're not feeling good. You're not whatever the badness is that I'm feeling. So I literally had to think about, do I look good as a happy person or do I look good as a person with happy stuff on? And I had to like take a step back and kind of think about, okay, if I've already done this much reflecting, I may as well just take apart how I feel about beauty and how I feel about looking good and figure out what it is that I need to do to make myself feel better and not just put on my happy clothes and happy outfit and happy makeup.
I'm a Cancer, so I very much value my emotions at all times, even when other people don't. So I know I remember hearing that phrase, and I was like, that's stupid. If I don't feel bad, I don't feel good. I just don't feel good. And that doesn't mean I need to try to fight it with my looks. Not to say it's stupid for other people, but that's just
it
how
works.
It
Right.
like it had to be authentic to me. And so, you know, when I feel bad, it's rarely like I don't connect it to beauty. It's not a story of beauty for me. It's a story of wellness. It's a story of me being whole. And so I don't even connect those things at all.
Interesting.
But I will say, in some ways, when it comes to makeup, makeup is an art form. I'm very creative, I'm very artistic. And so when I do my makeup well, I'm happy because I did the thing that I was wanting to do. But I don't really like, even when I probably should be one of those people that wears makeup all the time, I'm just not because, again, I do too much all the time. But what I do is like, this is my canvas and I can do what I want with it. And I enjoy that.
I'm striving to be like you, Doyen. I'm extremely vain. I'm extremely vain. Everything is tied. Everything is tied to how I look and how I feel. And I think it comes from one. I was in a theater company when I was very young and as a teenager. And I've been an entertainer by just naturally, since I was born. I'm always presenting. I'm always in the forefront of something. I'm always leading something. So I'm always conscious of how I look, and it's all of it. It's my hair. It's my face. It's my clothes. It's my weight. It's my size. It's my everything. I'm always conscious of that. And it is quite exhausting. And somehow I manage to step outside of it and get stuff done and perform. But it's always there. It's always there. And what I love about Doyen, what you mentioned for Ashley, is to continue to compliment and affirm her niece. That's, to me, my contribution to any younger person, any older person, any other woman on this planet. Because I feel like if and particularly with the Royalty Project and work that we do there with mentoring our youth, if they know it, if they just know it, like if it just for them, it's not even a factor. Like they didn't have to find it. They just know it. They just know it. And they've always known it. And they didn't even know that there was a gap in beauty standards of what was beautiful and how far they would be off that spectrum. If they just automatically, at a young age, just have that confidence and that self-assurance, then I just feel like, like if we just let them fly before they clip their wings, and if we could play a role in that, then that's how I feel like, just paying it forward or paying it back. But yeah, it's constant for me. It's
Girl,
constant.
I wish I had an organ. I was like, okay, preach.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna quickly just agree with Jackie. It's tied to my mental. It is how I look, weight, especially being dark skinned, especially. I didn't really touch on that, but you both did. That is daily, and most of the time it's good. Like I'm so pleasantly surprised that I feel good on camera today, because I'm telling y'all, right before I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna look crazy, and these girls are look. We look really beautiful. And just not really trying, just exuding it. So that is affecting me. How y'all look is affecting me. But it is a mental thing. Like, oh, we got, and it's in my head like, oh, we got this. But then when you don't look like that, it's like, see, and you look crazy. Like you don't got it together right now. And you look crazy. So yeah, I agree. It's tied to the whole thing, but somehow you manage to live, to get places. So it is, to me, it is a constant thing, health mentally as much as it is physically. You know what I mean? Beauty.
Yeah.
It's also just a defensive thing for me. Like, I'm like, okay, call me ugly, but I'm still not gonna do nothing about it. So, like I said,
yeah.
I love makeup, but I'm never going to be one to tell myself I need makeup because this is
Absolutely.
a thing. First of all, sometimes I don't even see me, so it's y'all's problem and not me.
How y'all feel is y'all problem.
Y'all feel is y'all problem. That's true.
Right. If you're fine with it, absolutely. Who else is the standard, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a type of utopia that I really strive for. Same. I do. Because it's, to me at this point, it's less about how other people think. I'm judging myself. I'm my worst critic. I'm really hard on myself. which makes me hard on other women too. And I also often have to stop myself from looking for flaws and looking for things in other people, because really it's a direct reflection on me wanting to be what perfect is all the time. And, so that's a daily work too.
Mm-hmm. I think it's interesting that you brought up the Royalty Project. I know that's our partner, and we very much support Royalty Project, especially since we're about to start our fall cycle. And if anybody is watching and they want to be a mentor, they can head on over to the royaltyproject.org
right away.
Sign up for our mentor huddle that's happening this weekend, and meet all the other mentors and get ready to start mentoring those beautiful young kings and queens next week. But I wanted to say one of the like, my beauty story had already started, but one of my favorite sessions forever and ever and ever is the image session. And I remember my first image session, we were, of course, online because of the pandemic, so I got to take a part in the process. And I admit I did not read the briefs beforehand like I was supposed to. I read them the day of, and the first thing I read was I got to write on a piece of paper with the bad things people said about me, and I was like, I don't know how this is going to go, but I guess everything else is going good. So we read the bad things, we ripped it up, and then we started with the raw praise, and I tell you that was life changing. That was the raw. So for those of you who don't know, there's this session where we go through a whole bunch of different things, but one of the activities, we write down something negative, rip it up, and then everyone showers you with praise. And when I say everyone, I mean everyone on the Zoom screen is showering you with praise. You can hear some distinct words here and there, but all of them are good. And I tell you, if I said it then and I say it now, I want to record it so I can listen to it every morning, so that when I get up and I look at my Hello Beautiful sticker in the mirror, I could play that and then be like, actually, you're going to take over the world today, and really believe it.
We might have to figure out how to do that for you. If that's going to do that for you, we're going to record that the next.
I know Jackie H is watching. Jackie H, could you get Ashley her snippet, please?
Absolutely.
That's my favorite.
It'll be in your email. It'll be in your email by the end of the night. Jackie got it.
I love Jackie.
Really to memojis right now, so I will definitely send you a daily memoji.
I appreciate that. I look forward to it. 7:00 on the dot in the morning.
But tonight. Then you can open it in the morning.
That'll work too. We are talking about a lot of different aspects of beauty, but I did want to ask, how much of your beauty is defined by your physical appearance? Like, if you had to measure.
Fairly little for me. I think I've realized much of my beauty is my personality and how I feel like I work my hardest to illuminate the room. I love to put a smile on somebody's face. I tell jokes all the time for that very reason. And so I, for the most part, I think I praise that part of my beauty more than how I look.
Your light.
Light again.
I say around 75, 80. And it might have been 90 before the pandemic and before I met and married a man who I feel like physical beauty means nothing to him. So I'm like, wait a minute, that's how I define who I am. So you not even acknowledging it is wild to me. But he finds beauty in so many other things that it's starting to be contagious. It's starting to be contagious. Initially, it was off-putting. It was like, I've always dated people who always like complimented and commented on my physical appearance, my height, my skin complexion, or, or even my physical presence, just the way I show up in the world. And he doesn't. He talks about my work ethic and my
work ethic beauty.
I think
that's beautiful. That is.
And he's like, her work ethic. I'm like, work ethic? That's not even sexy. But It is. I mean,
It
you know,
is.
it is. It is. There are a lot of intangible things that are beautiful. And I'm starting to learn that more. And of course, you know, the Royalty Project and what it's a lot of reverse mentoring going on. A lot of these young ladies have it. They have it, and they know, they have an understanding about what beauty is. And kids in general, like kids are honest. Kids are very honest, and hearing stuff out of the mouths of babes and what they look for, the warmness, and the discipline, and the structure, and how people pour into them. So as I evolve, it's becoming big. Other things are becoming bigger, but I would still say physical appearance is in that 75 percentile.
Okay.
And I think part of it also could be pandemic weight gain. I'm just not in a great space when it comes to how I feel about how I look. And so I've gotten better. Once I turned 34, I'm very extra. So I usually do birthday shoots. Last year I skipped it because of pandemic weight gain. But
You usually do what? I'm sorry, I missed that.
I do birthday photo shoots.
Birthday photo shoot.
But last year, because I'd gained the weight, I didn't really feel beautiful. And so this year I did it. And of course, it's blonde head, short hair.
Oh, my favorite.
It's cute. Like, I was like, oh, I am your bald rich auntie. And so I'm getting back to like really, really liking how I see myself again. And so I feel like that's why I'm like kind of not as not, I can't say 75%.
Yeah.
Maybe 50.
Well, that's good. I don't think 75% is the goal.
Right. So speaking of the goal, right? What are your beauty goals? How far, because you mentioned getting back, right, Doyen? So how far is the gap between where you are and where you want to be? Do you have a mark, you know, like a point where you're going to say, okay, I'm back. I feel like me, I'm at my goal. Is it a continuous thing? Go ahead. Yeah.
Maybe about 20 pounds. I won't say 30. 30 was skinny. Okay. But just getting back to just feeling confident in how I look in clothes and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So, it was weird.
It's nothing out of the, like, it's nothing beyond you, right? It's something you can get to and want to be, and you're realistic about that, right?
Yes.
Right. I love that. Yeah. I think we put pressure on ourselves sometimes to get someplace that we're like, girl, that's not
even realistic.
Really? In 2 months? Oh, okay. Like, no. Yeah. I like to hear realism. Yeah.
Throw those BMI scales away, because apparently for my height, I'm supposed to be like 140, and nobody wants that. I would look like a lot of
those scales.
I mean, even as a kid, if you were, another genus, probably, but
bones look lighter or whatever.
We don't do that. We carry, right?
Yeah, right. It's right to ignore that.
I
don't mean like ignore it by 100 pounds, but it's right to ignore it. I got like a 20-pound radius around there.
Yeah, I agree too.
I am happy to report, ladies, that I am here. And I think it's a combination between hard work and doing certain things like changing my hair, changing my diet, active lifestyle. I mean, I've always had an active lifestyle. The pandemic gave me some pounds that I enjoy. And then I had a procedure to remove some things that I didn't want. So between that and working out and eating a certain way and moving the needle, because it wasn't, at one point, it wasn't unrealistic, unattainable by any natural standards or augmentation. Like, it just wasn't achievable. And I think between doing some things and then moving the scale, at 42, I've arrived. I'm here. Like, I am where my goal is. My hair length, my skin complexion, my weight. And I would say there was a point in time where the weight goal, I'm 185 pounds. The weight goal was probably like 160. And I've been 160 before. And then as Candace, as you mentioned, like looking at pictures of me at that weight, I'm like, that doesn't look like a full woman. That looks like still like it's just still. So trying to get back to some place that I was in my 20s or early 30s. I'm 42. I don't want to be back there. So changing the goalpost and putting in the work, I feel like I've arrived.
I love that. Can you say that some more? I feel like I've arrived. Please say that out loud so I can get
arrived. I have met my hair goals, my skin goals, my weight goals, my
that's beautiful to say.
Composition goals. When I put on this shirt, and I had my husband zip it up for me, and I was like, it's gonna be a challenge to zip it up. It zipped right on up. You know, like it, you know, and I'm used to having that challenge. So I'm still kind of like, what do you call that? Like shocked by it. I still have like PSD by it, but I just, you know, went on a, I won't call it a strict diet, but a diet and a regimen, and lost 15 pounds, lost 25 from my pandemic weight gain, but lost 15 from my wedding. And yeah, I feel great. I feel fantastic.
Share that.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's a beautiful place to be, because I think a lot of us strive or have been there or knows what it feels like to sit in a comfortable place and then maybe to come off of it and work towards getting back. So getting back, congratulations, because
thank you.
And
we don't honor it in the moment.
Yeah.
So, you know, we all can think of a time, or maybe we can all think of a time where you were there, but it's still in your mind. You can't say it out loud.
It takes a while to get it.
Say it out loud because
you forget.
Right.
You don't have it. Like, whoa, I was just there. Wait. I was just feeling, wait a minute, that was it. Yeah.
And acknowledging it to yourself. Not necessarily saying you got to scream it off the mountaintop, but at least acknowledge it to yourself. Because we're always trying to get somewhere and to arrive somewhere. You know, the journey still deserves, you know, that same amount of vigor and accomplishment and achievement and feeling of pride. But when you reach there, acknowledge you reached there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I will say in 2020, I lost a lot of weight. Maybe a little bit too much, but I lost a lot of weight at the beginning of the pandemic. And it was partially medication helped, but I didn't believe it. I didn't believe I kept my clothes. I didn't believe I was smaller. The body dysmorphia was real.
Yeah.
And then it all came back, and I was like, well, at least I kept my clothes. But
I have
getting rid of everything.
I have to be honest and say I go up and down. So at this point, it's that's why I keep saying it's continuous up and down. Like I look at pictures from 5 years ago, I'm as big as I am. And then the year before that, I'm smaller. We're touching on the mental part of it. I will say that my mental state plays a part in how I look at certain points, physically, affects the mental. So when I look at pictures over 10 years and people say, I never saw you that skinny, or I never saw you that big, or it's like, that's that up and down. And it is tied together for me. And that was a point where I was able to identify why my weight and my happiness are tied together. My mental and, how I treat my body, it's all tied together. So it is definitely a journey, but shout out again to arriving. Sis said, I've arrived. Okay.
I will say one thing I'm battling in my weight loss journey now is internal fat phobia.
What is that? Say more.
And I want to say it's a wellness journey, but I also think it's strongly driven by internal fat phobia, where, we grew up in a time where everybody's been on fat diets forever. It was the South Island beach diet. I don't know if that was a thing, but people.
Yeah, South Miami Beach or something.
Yeah,
somewhere diet.
South. Yeah.
Since I was a child, Weight Watchers was a thing. The Biggest Loser was a thing, and so even equating my weight, and I'll say I probably equate that even more to my beauty than I should.
Mm.
And so trying to be well, feel like I'm healthy, but also separate that from hating being a curvy Black woman.
Mm.
It's a journey. I will say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's real. That's real. Ashley, what about you?
What about goals? I agree with the moving goalposts, but um I ain't never met none of them before I moved the goalposts. But I do find that like when I do have my healthy time periods, the weight that I get down to is not my goal weight, but it's still like my healthiest is way above my goal weight. My healthiest is way above the BMI scale. My healthiest is always like over 200 pounds, but I'm still working out twice a day, eating healthy, all whole foods, drinking a gallon of water, doing all of the things. And the smallest I can get is over 200 pounds. And so it took a lot for me to think through like, okay, so what are these goals and who are they for?
Right. That part.
And then I have to look at, because any smaller than that, I'm going to be like a 10. I'm going to have to buy all new clothes. I want to look like a barbell. So I really don't want to look like that. I don't want to look like that at all. So I think it all comes down to, I actually, on my latest wellness journey that we're on,
It's a continual thing, don't you
right,
find?
on my current wellness journey, I literally don't have a goal. My goal is to be healthy. So
Okay.
I don't think that I'll ever have a goal post again, because I know that when I set goals, I'm setting goals to look like, well, I was setting goals when I was 33 to look like I did when I was 25. And when I was 25, I wanted to look like I did when I was 18 or 17 or whatever age that was when I lost weight that time. And I feel like every time I set goals, I'm trying to look like I did at whatever phase of my life that it was. And that's not ever going to be what I look like again.
Yeah.
So it's easier for me to let my goal be being healthy and then meet that goal with health and making healthy choices. But I don't make healthy choices. So
Yeah.
that's a struggle within itself.
It's tough. It's tough because you want to live. And a lot of what we've attached to self-gratification, reward systems, all of the psychological things, or a lot of the psychological things, food is a comfort. Food is also congratulations. We do food for the gamut. Social.
Absolutely.
It's we do it for the gamut, for the good, the bad, the ugly, and the
And
indifferent.
food is good.
But it's a part about like
It's good.
retraining, I think. Like we do active things. Like, well, let's do this and then eat. You know what I mean? It's,
Right.
as opposed to it being just eat. It's really like reprogramming. It's lifestyle. Like you said, your lifestyle has changed. That's why you're so. That's why you said you've arrived, because of what you've been doing in your whole life, not just I'm eating, I'm exercising. It's like, no, how am I taking care of myself? So that incorporating things into your life, so where you're not just eating to just be, that was a struggle for me, getting people involved. Like, let's do this first. Let's walk. Let's, but it long term, it's the behavior, not just that, like you said, the fads that's been going on since forever.
And to me, adjusting what matters too. Like for a long time, I would go out and drink because that's what everybody did. I'm not a drinker.
You're not a drinker.
I like to eat my calories. I don't like, so why do both? Because I don't want other people to be like, why you not drinking? Why you not drinking? Why you not drinking? Now I just armor up. I'm bringing my sparkling 0 calorie or low calorie, 0 sugar drink to dinner, and I'm going to eat my calories, and then my drink is not going to have calories. It's like those judgment things too. And I think the judgment thing plays a role too in saying that you are where you want to be. Because how dare you, when 80% of women are not where they want to be? Like, how dare you say, especially if you're good with where you are, and that's not the standard of everybody else's beauty. So how dare you say, oh no, I'm good. And for other people, it's like, no, you're not. It's like, like, so we automatically kind of take this defense to cover up or like to prepare ourselves for what other people will react, how other people will react to that.
You said something very interesting. That I'd rather eat my calories. Do you think people judge when it's the other way? I'd rather drink my calories, and I'll eat light so that I could drink, because it's like a balance, right? But you play it how you want to. I think you play it how you want to. Like, I do like to drink, and I would rather have something light to eat and drink so I can drink, as opposed to like eat the food that's gonna make me feel bad. I think like that's like a lifestyle thing. You make it a conscious effort to, no, I'm not drinking with y'all, and you're not a drinker. Like, no, I'm gonna get that extra piece of chicken.
But it took me a while because I didn't want to hear it.
To accept it.
It took me a while, but I accept it now. I'm not.
You're not. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not, and I don't strive to pay less because everybody else drank, and we could all divide it. We go out to dinner. That's fine because I eat more. I eat more than y'all, so like, it's fine. We could divide this out and it still be fine. I won't be the one that's like, I ain't drink, so my bill was no. It's still all love and camaraderie, but I armor myself now for that. Why you not drinking? Because I'm not a drinker. I'm an eater.
That's it.
I wish I wasn't a drinker.
I choose my battles on certain days. Some days I'm gonna eat heavy, drink light. Some day I'm gonna do light, but I try not to do both. It's like that balance.
And everybody's balance is their own. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Pressure.
So I kind of wanted to touch on one last thing. So some of us, whether we shut out or we remove external standards, we seem to have found our own rhythm or found our own best practices as far as beauty and accepting our own beauties. At this point in my wellness journey, I wish I could have told my younger self that in regards to accepting my own beauty phases, my own beauty at all phases. I wish I could have told Ashley number of years ago, girl, forget everything else and just think about whatever it is that makes you go. What is your best practice in accepting your own beauty? Or what would you have told you so many years ago about accepting your own beauty?
I love that question, ladies.
I will say quiet the voices. That, because especially when somebody tells me something that is hurtful, I repeat it in my head all the time. So I remember I wanted to be a part of a certain sorority that has women that have in the past been stereotypically light. And so a guy that was way darker than me was like, in high school, was like, you can't be a part of that. You're dark. Meanwhile, he wanted to be a Kappa, because I'm still going to call him out on that. And he was way darker than me. And so like that messed with me for a while. And I did join that sorority. And for a while, I had a very hard time with being a dark member of that sorority until I stopped his voice and stopped the voices of other people who looked at me and didn't think I was worthy of that sorority, and realized like, I'm just a badass. Like I'm just great. Like, I mean, there's whether I don't care how you think I look, but if you look at the facts, if you look at the resume, you can see I'm a badass, and you can just deal with your issues. That's not mine to have. And so there's a lot of times where they're just little things that people say, and it would repeat in my head over and over again until like my little lawyer in my head would come and be like, okay, so who said that? And this is all the fact list of why that's wrong. And so it was a logic play for me, like, that's not right. And so that's how I could quiet the voices that I was repeating. Truth be told, most people don't even remember half of the messed up stuff they said to me. I remember it way more than they do. So.
Yeah. So quiet the noises. I think that is a great thing to tell anybody at any age. So quiet the noises. Jackie, what would you tell your younger self? Just to repeat the question.
I'm having a hard time figuring out I didn't focus on beauty as I was young. I didn't focus on it, but that doesn't mean I thought I was beautiful. I didn't think I was beautiful. So I think I overcompensated by doing so many other things that would get me praise. And other people did think I was beautiful, so they would compliment me, but it just didn't land. It didn't stick. So I told you guys I was a child actress. I was a basketball player. I did a lot of things, and even in college, I did a lot of things. So I feel like that was my defense mechanism, finding other ways to contribute to society or learn more about myself rather than focusing on my physical appearance. But if I had to give someone else advice about beauty, it's the advice that we give in the Royalty Project. Like, it starts with you. It starts with you. Like, that is the center. Anything else anyone tells you about what's beautiful is their perspective. And there is no common measure on that. Beauty starts with you. Whatever you say beauty is. And I think it's very simple, similar to Doyen saying, quiet the noise. It's what do you, when you look at things, not when someone tells you something is beautiful, what do you think is beautiful? And focus on that. Like, and it starts with you. You are. Why aren't you the basis? You are the basis. You are the starting point. You are the prototype. It is you. At every version of you, it is you. That's where it starts. So yeah, that's what I would tell a younger person. My younger self, that strategy worked because I'm extremely confident. I'm an extremely confident person. And I think if I didn't have other distractions and I'd focused on beauty, then it wouldn't have worked out for me the same way. I just did other things. It was like, because those are the things those things are beautiful. You don't have to worry about you. Those things that you do are beautiful. So yeah, but beauty starts with you. It starts with you first, not something someone else told you, not what you saw in a magazine, not what you see on TV, not the exaggeration you see on Instagram or any other social media. It starts with you.
So absolutely. I think both of you touched on something, like you said, that were very aligned. Quiet the noise. It starts with you. My answer was exactly the same. Like, the less you look outward, the more you'll just see it because it's there. And it is the personality things. It is the extra activities. It is just being your own standard. So starting with you, I feel like we all agree on that the noise and focusing in on yourself and not external standards is what helps will push that needle. So I would have told myself that, because even though I did do a lot of stuff as a kid, basketball, volleyball, softball, dance, student government, I still was like, why don't you feel beautiful like everybody else? Why you like your grandmother, you like your mother, why don't you feel beautiful? And I don't know. I couldn't
catch it,
pinpoint it. Yeah. But to tell my younger self, like, yo, whatever it is, you're doing it. You're already so beautiful because of who you are. And I think we all, as much as beauty plays a role in our mental, who you are is what actually matters. So that is definitely a message that we try to share with the children at the Royalty Project. Because if it, like you said, if that gap isn't there where they're confused about it, it's like you're unstoppable. So definitely wanted to bring that home. Ash, what you got to say, lady? Off mute.
I just knew I was unmuted.
Great reminders. That's how you got to remind people.
Wait, I thought mine was in the.
You're right, Ashley. I like that. Thankful.
Why are you talking to yourself?
I was reading. I thought I answered. I thought I put mine in the question. I think I thought I wrote it into the question. I would agree with you all. Just quieting those outer voices and looking at things for beauty instead of when I say looking at things, looking at characteristics, traits, those things that make up my light, looking at those things as far as what makes me beautiful instead of can I get a wing eyeliner? Can I get my eyebrows to look like
That
twins
window would be
instead of
helping you.
cousins?
I want a lesson though. I want a lesson. I don't know what to do first thing for makeup. But Doyen, you said you don't know how to do a 5-minute face. I need a 5-minute face.
I've gotten
I
mine
will
down to a
say,
concealer
I
and a
think
gloss.
at this point in my life, I'm like, I'm that track you slept on. That's fire. So everybody might not go straight to track number 7, but you're gonna get there. You're gonna be like, why did I sleep on that?
I slept on. That's a word.
And I
Yes.
think to some extent, like there's beauty in seeing 4 different Black women and 4 different perspectives, and knowing that we're getting there, and
Yeah.
we're still growing, and we're still going. We have ways to go, but we're getting there. That makes me
Yep.
happy.
Absolutely. This has been a lovely conversation.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that I know all of y'all. I've met every last one of y'all in person, and all of y'all are some of the most beautiful people that I know. And I'm glad that we were able to share this conversation together. I know that I've spoken on said it at one time, but again, if you have not had the opportunity, please go to the royaltyproject.org and sign up to be a mentor. It's a very enriching experience for the mentors and the mentees. If you have a child between the ages of 10 and 14, sign your child up. It's an experience that I've seen kids just in my 4 cycles that have came back from being a mentee to a junior mentor, and they
We got
were
one
so
coming back.
excited to come back and say, I'm back, because I had to come again. So that's one thing we're looking for. And while we're giving shout outs, since we did mention drinking earlier, I want to let Doyen go ahead and tell us about what she has coming up.
First of all, I just want to ask about the Royalty Project. Is it still somewhat virtual? I am
Yes, it
probably
is.
about 4 hours up the road from y'all.
It is virtual.
Yes, it
It is
is.
virtual, and we're still looking for mentors.
You already are a mentor. I'm already signing you up. See?
Yep. I love talking at kids. It's great. And also, I love talking. So I have a podcast called Poor Life Decision. It's spelled poor like the drink because, why not drink during a podcast? But I also call it self-care with a twist of lime. And so what we do is we focus on one poor life decision a week, one way we're trying to improve our lives. So actually, our recent episodes, we've talked about breaking up with your therapist. We always talk about getting a therapist, but what if they're not a good mix and you just need to talk to somebody else? We're also dropping soon, once I behave and put it on the internet, about what happens when somebody is talking noise about you and you didn't know and you thought they were your friend. That's still a big thing, even as adults. So check us out on everywhere you listen to this podcast. It's me and one of my good friends from Mississippi. So
I love it.
really happy to be here. That's all I got.
Say the name again. Poor life,
Life
decisions.
Poor life decision. One decision because we're changing that one at a time.
Yeah.
Check that out, y'all.
Again, I'm so grateful for you guys. Thank you, ladies, for taking your time out to come and chat with us. Thank you, everyone who watched. If you haven't, please don't forget to click on the subscribe button right below the screen. I think it's right below the screen or either to the left. Click on subscribe, turn your notifications on. Make sure that you catch everything that we send your way from Cheese on My Cracker. Thank y'all for joining, and it's a wrap.